I think yeah, I'm in this jump. Greetings, everybody. This is Wesley Pepper. This is the Art Lexcia podcast. This is episode 117. And as you guys can see, I'm doing a live recording today. Yeah, I'm actually in the west block of my studio. Yeah, I've got a big studio, you know. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy the background. It's a bit colorful. Hope that works out. Yeah, man, as I said, we got a live yesterday. Just a few words on my previous episode. Thanks to Kimberley for coming through last week, my sister. Like, personally, I think Kimberley is probably one of the dopest artists in the country. I think her viewpoints and everything, I just love it. And I see a lot of guys responding to the shorts that I posted and things like that. I'm also gonna open a TikTok page. I was always very skeptical because I don't really trust TikTok, but I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna open up a TikTok page for the Art Lexcia and post all those short videos on there. So I'll be posting those links on the various social media platforms. Also, please like, subscribe, and comment on this channel. I got a bunch of new subscribers this week, and so much love to everybody. And just last point on the African Genius podcast, Uncle Asa and I recorded last week. I will post that episode. I just had a bit of a technical glitch in terms of the technical thing, but I will be posting that episode sometime soon. And yeah, man. Also, this is my last point to bring in my guest. If you're based in South Africa, today is the recording of this episode is the 15th of June. But if you're based in South Africa, this is actually Youth Day. Tomorrow is Youth Day. As a I was always very excited about Youth Day. So I always do a lot of exciting things around Youth Day in the past. And I wanted to talk to somebody exceptional, and I wanted to talk to another visual artist. And lo and behold, I found this brother over here, Junior Oliphant. We got a lot in common. He's also from Kimberley. He's from Gorepan, and he's a visual artist. And we spoke a bunch offline about where he's from and so forth. And we're going to be unpacking everything about his work, of course. And he also came back from the UK just recently, did a very exciting show there. So we'll be talking a little bit about that and a few more other things. So yeah, man, Junior, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Wesley. It's an opportunity to be here.
Nah, for sure, my brother. Yeah. Let's just start off with like how I found out about your work, man. I saw your work on a bunch of social media pages with this gig in the UK. Mm-hmm. So before we get to that, I know that was a major highlight for yourself. Before we get to that, let's start off in the beginning. Let's just tell my listeners a little bit about yourself. Sort of like where you from? Where did you study, and how did you get into art?
Yeah. I'm a 26-year-old visual artist. I like to use the tag visual artist in my name and not the artist. The reason for that is because I do tattoos, photography, and graphic design. There's now besides the painting and the drawings and so on. So just to put all that related services into one term, I just call myself a visual artist. I was born in Kimberley, but I grew up in Johannesburg. In grade 9, that was about 2011, 2012, I'm not sure. Then we relocated back to Kimberley. I matriculated at Pretoria High in 2014. And then in 2018, I went to CUT in Bloemfontein. And then I did communication design there. And that is where the art started, like touching my life to, getting the idea or considering the idea of taking it seriously, considering to make this a career with all the artists that are there, the vibes, the arts competitions. One of the arts competitions that actually made this more possible for me was the New Breed Art that is hosted annually at Wesley. So you need to be a resident of the Free State to take part in the competition. And yeah, just how I saw it, it's not easy, but it's possible. And then I told myself that this is where I want to be, and I want to take things from here. And ever since then, I've been just moving towards that, working towards that.
Okay, man. You mentioned something of Olivenace in Bloemfontein. Just to my listeners, that's the major gallery in the Free State. It's actually quite a beautiful space if you're ever around in the Free State. I highly suggest you go. It's got a beautiful garden. It's a really beautiful gallery. Tell us a little bit about. I know that you say you don't consider you seriously set as a visual artist. That makes complete sense. I don't think in 2023 a single, very few artists I know can just do one thing. You have to do multiple things. Just explain to us how did the art, when did you find out that like you pretty good at this, and what was it that you said like, okay man, I'm gonna go study further, I'm gonna take it serious and so forth.
Grade 3, when I grew up, grade 3, I'm not sure which year it was. But my uncle had stayed with us. He used to stay behind closed doors in his room. Always, he never allowed me to go inside. And I was always curious to go inside, but he obviously never allowed me to. And then one day I had the opportunity. And when I opened the door to a new world. And I saw his works, I saw the paint, I saw the pencils, and I just saw everything. Everything, it was very messy, but it was so beautiful at the same time. And that inspired me immediately to, like, do art and, like, start drawing, start painting and all that. And, as kids, you grow up, and if you have some sort of talent to, draw in class and so on, then you take some competition among your friends, and then they tell you, you want to die verstaan, hy teken diep en alle goede. And so it was more like that, and then bietjie diknek gekry and so on. And then as I grew up, I still had a passion for art. But then when I started speaking to my parents about it, they were like, no, you can do it whatever you want to, but you need to do something that can put a stable salary in your pocket every month, put food on the table and so on. And that's why I actually decided to go study communication design in 2018.
So communication design is just another term for graphic design, correct?
Yeah. Communication design is the same as graphic design. It's just the thing is why they changed the terms to communication. I think it's because graphic design is still graphic design, but the purpose of graphic design is to communicate at the end of the day. So that's why they're changing the terms.
Okay, man. Okay, interesting. The thing that you said about I think as a metaphor, it's actually quite, it's actually quite loud that your uncle worked and he closed the room, and when you came in, you're open to a new world. It almost sounds like a novel somewhere.
Yeah.
I like that. What type of work was there? What did he do? What was he drawing? What was he painting?
I can't really remember, but with what I can try to remember, like the few things that I saw, I'm not sure if it was on a canvas or if it was maybe like in his notepads or something, but he used to draw female figures, and he used to use pencil, so he used to color it in and so on, and that was really beautiful for me because it was in proportion, it was hyper realistic, and it was just like, wow, can a person actually do something like this? Because I've never seen art like this before. That
actually reminds me of something, and on this platform, I actually didn't share this with a lot of my listeners, is that, growing up, because, I also grew up in Kimberley. I left when I was 18, though. So my adult life was outside, but growing up here, you were never, there's no art anywhere. There's very little people that is, I would say, confident enough to show anybody their work, and there's definitely no institution or ecosystem to take care of that art. So I kind of understand why someone will close it, because there's this type of almost a negative stigma to people who to creative people, to creative people like ourselves. Can you relate to that?
I can actually relate to that because in most cases, I'm not hating or anything or anybody, but the thing is, most people are systematic. They believe in the fact that you have to go to school, finish high school, go study, get a job, get married. Most cases get divorced. Get grandkids, raise the grandkids, pension, and that's it. With artists, it's a matter of you are constantly a hustler because you have to hustle every single day. And like you mentioned earlier, you can't just, as an artist, you can't just take on one thing. With me, since COVID, I've been doing tattoos full time. and it is my main source of income. And within the time when I do not have clients and so on, which is also very less because there's so much tattoo artists nowadays, and the competition just keeps on growing.
I can imagine.
Yeah, and tattoos is also seasonal.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very seasonal.
Yes.
In the winters, you will get less clients. I don't know why, because I think healing wise, to get tattoos in the winter is actually better. But for me personally, when it's December and Easter, that is the best time for me to do tattoos, because then I get like a lot of clients all the time because I run a lot of specials. And it seems now like being 9 years in the tattoo industry, people actually know when I'm doing specials and they actually wait for my specials. And I don't mind actually, because it's worth it at the end of the day. But the photography, it's the same. I'm still hustling with that. There's a lot of competition, and it's when it comes to relationships, it becomes hard as a man specifically, because in most cases, nowadays women are the breadwinners, and now I come into their lives as just an artist, and I have to spin for a tattoo client or a photography client or whatever, and then that 1,000 that I make with the tattoos, I have to give it just to her, like sort out wherever you need something and things like that. And then there goes weeks by, and then you don't get anything at all, and then you feel like less valued in society, in women's eyes, or in relationships or things like that, because sometimes it feels like your value is depicted by what you are offer or what you bring to the table as a man.
I wasn't expecting to go there.
I'm sorry.
No, it's relevant. I think it's totally relevant. Yeah, I can relate. Men are not always the breadwinners these days. That actually opens up another topic. I don't think I'm gonna continue with that on this platform, because I think my views, let's just leave it there. But I think that's a very poignant point that you made there. You also, what you said about multiple incomes, and being able to be versatile and to be diverse. If there's one thing that I know from my experience, is that takes a special talent. It takes an incredible amount of discipline and tons of talent, because only a few people in the world can do that. And I know every artist that listens to this platform can totally relate to that. That's just the nature of what we do. So that actually gives me a nice idea where you're from, and so forth and so forth. Let's jump into the art, man. So you mentioned your first interaction with art was figure drawings. You say hyper-realistic. I can actually see that in my mind. Actually, I did a few episodes on, I think 2 years ago, on photorealism. I've noticed that it's probably one of the most popular, I would say, genres in the country.
I wouldn't actually say so.
Oh?
Jono Dry is the artist that I look up to. I still look up to him, because he does photorealism drawings. He's from Cape Town. And the thing is with him, his work is so detailed that it looks like a photocopy.
Yeah.
And I try to work towards that, because I thought that makes him unique. Because in artists' views, in galleries, in what galleries show you, you don't see a lot of that work. So I thought that was going to be the easiest way to infiltrate the art industry, until one of the curators from one of the galleries actually reached out to me, and they're like, listen, your work is great. It's hyper-realistic. It looks like a photocopy. It's immense talent. But people don't want to pay for a drawing that looks like a photo that they can just take off the internet and print out. They want a signature. They want a style. In Jono Dry's work specifically, he still uses the hyper-realism in his figures and his portraits, but he uses flowers and horns mostly to identify himself as an artist. And most of his backgrounds are black, like pitch black, super black. And I think that is what identifies him, because if you see his work and you know who he is, you can say this looks like Jono Dry. And I think that's what makes him unique, and I think that is what is okay with his hyper-realism. And after that, curator told me, you need to move away from the hyper-realism. You can still use it, but try to be creative about it. Don't be a copycat. And that's where I started exploring with coffee in my background and using the Khoisan symbols in my background by using the charcoal sticks and drawing the Khoisan symbols with the charcoal sticks. And since then, that's how I actually started identifying my own style. It's been working ever since.
Yeah, man. I like that. I like that, my brother. I like your perspective on how you saw that. That's big ups to that. Let's actually talk about, you said, mention of using coffee, of using Khoisan symbols. From looking at your work, yeah, man, I got a very strong, almost like a street art aesthetic. And I got a lot of, I could see, that there were some personal symbols there. So I'd like maybe we can explore a little bit of that. And I saw a lot of, I guess, I don't really like to use the word gritty when it comes to Black artists, because it also, sometimes it could mean that the artists, anyway, I just fucking don't like to use that word.
Yeah.
But with that said, it is gritty. It is, and it also sounds like you have a lot to say. So tell us a little bit, like, what are you trying to say through your work, and then we'll get into the medium.
First of all, career-wise, it's safer as an artist to always have a statement at hand.
Yeah, man.
Because if you have a statement, galleries know, or they can see that you understand how to use your words in your art. And then you get artists that actually just uses one word or a small poem in their statements, and they actually expect the user to dive into it, do your own research about it. And I'm actually moving towards that a lot more now. But first of all, career-wise, I identify as colored. But my surname is Oliphant with PH, which is Netherlands. And my mother is like super white complexioned. And my father is like really dark. And I'm now the caramel baby that came out. So, well, during history, what I can remember in school, there wasn't a lot of history about Khoisan art or Khoisan religion tradition in my school.
Khoisan anything.
Khoisan anything.
Anything to do with color identity.
Yeah, there was like 2 or 3 pages about it, and that was that. When it came to exams, the comprehension test was like 10 out of 20, or there wasn't a lot about Khoisan specifically. As I think back about it, I become more angry about the fact that people choose to exclude that from the schooling system. There's nothing I can do about it, but I mean, at the end of the day, me trying to identify where I fit in as a colored, in the colored community. Because when you look at Black people, you get Sotho, Zulu, Xhosa, Ndebele, and you can go on, and everyone has their own beautiful tradition, even though they still identify as Black at the end of the day. When you look at the white people, you get Europeans, you get Afrikaners, and you can just go on and you can go on that. And when it comes to coloreds, the few that you can think of is Cape Malay, and that's basically it. And when you speak to foreigners about colored people from South Africa, they expect us to look like the Cape Malay colors.
Yeah, and sound like them.
And sound like them as well.
Yeah.
And the accent and the passion gap, the teeth that's not there, and things like that.
Yeah.
And then you get people that stereotype colored people with the tattoos. I look like a typical statistic. I'm from Roropan, I'm from the flats, I'm full of tattoos, I got a man bun, and if I have to walk into your daughter's house, one day your daddy's gonna stay away from this guy. He looks like trouble and things like that. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just that there's so much more to us.
Let me actually ask you something. This also shows like our age gap. I want to know about the man bun. Why are what's the attraction there? Is it cool? Do women like it?
I don't know, man. For me personally, it's exceptionally hard to get a good barber, especially when you're busy and you don't have time. When you find a good barber, everyone knows about him, obviously, at the end of the day, because he's good and he's cheap, so he's always full. So you're gonna sit like 2-3 hours and you're gonna just chill there with them and you talk a lot of nonsense the whole day and it's cold or it's hot and you're hungry and all that, but like you have to sit there because you need to get your hair cut. And with me there, I was just like, no, you know what, let me just grow my hair and I can cut my hair or trim it or top it like every 2 or 3 weeks. And that's okay for me. Because if my hair here at the bottom is not cut, then I can just twist my hair, wash it and twist it, then I can just hide it. So it's easy for me.
Yes, just a thing also for my listeners. I mean, you can tell I cut all my hair, but I also know that there's a lot of identity politics in how you present your hair. There's actually, fuck man, that's actually another topic on its on its own. So just to come back to you mentioned about sort of the lack of I would say Khoisan or colored people identity in growing up in high school and so forth. How did that lack of identity, or rather, what was it that pushed you like say, okay, me, I'm gonna use that, or rather, I'm gonna speak about that. And I want to be specific about it because I'm well aware of if you come from certain communities, to talk about certain things is not popular. In other words, people don't really respond to it. And identity politics is definitely up there. So just explain, how did you get to it, and what are you trying to communicate?
Yeah, first of all, to touch on the hair again, when I started growing my hair, I didn't. My hair isn't coarse. It's not like the C4 type. It's not nappy hair. And when you look at Khoisan, when you know most coloreds, me personally, I like to identify that the Khoisan people are my ancestors, but I don't look anything like them. So through my art, it's a culture identity that I'm trying to explore. So the more I do research about how the Khoisan did things back in the past, I find a common modern correlation in today's life, in the present, which is what I see in my community. First of all, to touch on the problems that I speak about in my work is besides the culture identification, that is just like a small topic in my work, but it's not about that. It's just that I want to promote, first of all, colored excellence. And then I want to touch on the problems that everyone sees. The biggest problem in my eyes is unemployment. Unemployment is the root of evil. It's the biggest root of evil.
Yeah, man.
And it leads to crime and violence, gangsterism, alcohol abuse, substance abuse, GBV, suicide, mental illnesses, everything that you can think of. And I think personally, I don't see anyone, the people in power, not doing anything about it. And I mean now, I don't know, it's being a colored male artist as well, trying to infiltrate the art industry. It makes it even harder for me because I'm not hating on anyone, not on the galleries, not on the artists. Everyone is dope as they are, and you have your own story to tell. It's just that with me, I wanna stop following the crowd. I wanna speak about what I see the problem is, and the main problem is when it comes to unemployment in colored communities is that we are marginalized as the minority of South Africa. See all the gangsterism and the GBV in the Western Cape. It's not just in the Western Cape, it's everywhere in South Africa. And it's not just in colored communities, but it's just like, it seems like there's less being done in colored communities. And now you see in Innerdale, they busy striking in this week now as well.
Yeah.
About
in Westbury too.
Yeah, in Westbury as well, about people speaking about how the government is neglecting the colored people. And how the colored people are not getting anything, how they are marginalized, how they are still limited when it comes to BBE, even though we are supposed to be intertwined or considered as BBE, the BBE minority. And a simple scenario, if you identify as black, identify as colored, we go to the same varsity, we finish the same year, we get the same qualifications, we go apply, because we're friends, so we go apply at the same job, which the manager is a black manager, and we have the same experiences, the same diploma and all that. He's most probably going to take on your CV instead of mine because he wants to take his people forward. And there's nothing wrong with it because we have the same experiences. But then again, you want to take it further, like, when does that stop? Because when it comes to colored people are totally opposite. If the manager is colored and you are black, he's still going to take you because in most cases, colored people, they don't know what it is. Most colored communities don't know what it is to be united. Hulle is met van, ek gaan nie vir die man nie werk gee nie. Ek gaan nie vir die vrou te werk gee nie because she's going to do my job better than me. So I'm rather going to give it to the black man. Which, it goes two ways. It goes to the people in power and it goes to our own people as well. And where is the unification? Where is the rainbow nation that Nelson Mandela saw? You know, where is that Thabo Mbeki tried to live through? And you just don't see that anymore.
Yeah, man, you're raising some interesting points there. Just my listeners, that strike that you were talking about, I was actually following that in a week. I don't really want to comment on that on this platform. Yeah, and I hear what you're saying. You actually remind me a lot of, it sounds weird, man, but of me. When I was 20, in my mid-20s, I was going through a similar thing. It's just that I saw that entrepreneurship. I went more the entrepreneurship route, and I went into publishing. Well, I did both actually, printmaking and publishing. What I sort of want to, let me start off there. These issues that you're talking about, like, is felt actually across the country. What I find outstanding about what you're saying is that, like, you got international acclaim because of what you were saying.
Yeah.
So before we get there, no, actually, I don't want to make this thing too focused too much on not so much the issues, but more on the political thing, because I find that thing actually quite. I mean, I'd much rather have like a full-on conversation on that, because it's very emotional to me too. It affects me personally as well, and I too can. I've got some ugly stories about that myself. But so I see and I respect the way you're using your art as a tool to talk about these issues. What do you think? Before we get to the, I guess, your shows and projects and so forth, what do you think? What do you think people are taking up from your work? What do you think? Are people responding to in your work?
First of all, like I mentioned earlier, I look like a typical stereotype statistic. I'm from the Rodepan flats, and I'm doing tattoos. I'm also full of tattoos and so on. So people just assume that I'm a bad guy, you know. Tattoos are okay, but you know, if you hear I'm from Rodepan, you have to think twice about it, you know. But yeah, growing up in Rodepan, but you know, seeing the kids growing up in Rodepan and the environment. I stay next to a tavern. Everything goes there. There's nothing wrong with it. I also use it if I have to. But you know, it's sad when you start becoming a public figure and these kids, they look up to you, and you know, how you have to go to the tavern for a beer or two. You come back home, come drink it at home. You just have to buy it there. But now you think to yourself, and you like, this lady was here yesterday and you asked me to draw something for him, or to help him with a school project or whatever. Or maybe he just came to me and tell me, like, you know, Junior, you inspired me so much, and I'm also gonna start drawing. I also wanna do what you do and all that. And the next day, just before you walk into the tavern's doors, you see the light, they're also there sitting. And then you now asking yourself, like, but what did I do to make this better, or to, you know, like, stop that or inspire that situation? And with me, I think that's why most people resonate with my work, or with me specifically, is because the fact that I'm from Rodepan. Everything is easily accessible in Rodepan, and so many people actually don't have hope from Rodepan. It's like God turned his back on Rodepan, you know. And it's not like the churches in Rodepan are also doing anything better as well. I'm not hating, I'm just saying, like, you know, a person would expect a bit more. because you see mostly churches from in Kimberley actually come to Roodepan more than the churches actually doing interventions in Roodepan itself. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just that I'm trying to give back.
Hey, my brother, salute to that. I think that's very brave. It's very brave, very, and I don't think artists get enough credit. But this is the platform where we give artists credit to that type of shit. So much love to that. I get the thing about being a public figure and getting into a public space. No, I get that. I can relate there too. And also coming from a small place, you have something in South Africa. I'm sure my international guests can relate to that, but like something like we call it small town mentality, where people got very limited perspectives on a lot of things, and if you sort of outside of that over there, you're usually isolated, and with that isolation comes a bunch of social ills, which is completely unnecessary, if you should ask me. But like as a creative, and let's get back into the I guess the processes behind the art. So I get the social awareness, and I get the identity politics and the politics. So you got let's say you also explain about the symbolism behind the work. So let's actually get into the work. It's a pity that we don't actually have some of the work here, because I think that now would have been perfect to like just put the work up and talk about something specific.
But we can put the link on a podcast.
I will put a link in the description below, so you're able to view his work. We'll do that for sure. And I think I'll also post it on some of his links. I think I will post it on our various social media platforms, so you can have a look at it there. But let's get into your projects and exhibitions and so forth. So you just recently come back from the UK. Tell us a little bit what the festival was. About the festival, but how did you manage to get there? What did you do there, and so forth?
My art mentor from Bloem, Karen Bruce, she shared something on Instagram about this company called It's Liquid Group. It's a small art company that creates a platform or international platform for local artists, so that they can have like an international audience at the end of the day. And by the time she shared it, the deadline was already reached. And I just, you know what, something just told me like, just apply. And that's what I did. I just applied. I sent a few of my work, and 3 of my works actually got chosen. And I only, but with the time frame that I had to like pay the registration fee, and like to raise funds for the accommodation and the plane tickets and all that, I could only manage to raise enough funds at the time for 1 artwork. And so the artwork that got chosen, I'm just gonna try to describe it.
Please do.
The name is called The Great Depression. It's an appropriation artwork of the Last Supper. It's a self-portrait actually, so it's actually different poses of myself with different outfits and so on, sitting at the table. And then in the background, it's completely painted with coffee, the background, and then the Khoisan symbols comes through the coffee. And you can just on the links. And
we will.
On the links you guys can see. The name is the Great Depression.
Yeah, you will able to look at it in the depression below.
Yeah. And that's basically it when it comes to the processing of how I choose my artworks and how I do it.
Hold on. Before we get that, just explain just a little bit more about the festival, man. So, what type of exhibition was it? Who was there? How many artists were involved, and that type of thing?
As I said, the company's name is It's Liquid Group. They're based in Rome and in London. And what they do is they create a platform for international artists or artists to have an international audience. And when I got there, there was so many incredible works there, and so many different type of works as well. Performance, video, acrylic, abstract, you name it all. And I met so many great people there. And they actually invited me to have my own solo exhibition in Rome.
Fantastic.
In Rome, yeah, but unfortunately, I'm gonna have to pay again, obviously.
On that point over there, just a point over there. Actually, I find that they should be paying you, my brother.
Yes.
You shouldn't be paying them. They should be
Yes.
paying you to go to Rome. But anyway, sorry, just to cut you there. Actually, I wanna whether the episode with Canelo, we kind of touched on that, but I think it also relates back to what we're trying to do with Gallery 360 Africa. Just to my listeners, or to the new listeners, and to the new subscribers. On this platform, we actually, I wouldn't say just critical, but we're also looking for alternative solutions for artists to sort of to exist. And I just find it really unfair that when there is an exhibition anywhere in the world, the artist must front costs for that. I find that thing deeply problematic. But okay, I guess I just had to make that point. My brother, you were saying that you were called to do a solo show in Rome.
Yeah.
They want you to pay what type of show, and when are they looking to do it? That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's actually just a few months from now. The main offices is in Rome, and they're trying to expand throughout the world. I would like to consider them as a small company, also growing. So for now, I kind of understand why the artists need to pay. But I completely agree. Like when it, let's not go into that. I'm working on a new series called Children of the Sun, and SAN, by the way, and it still touches on the same problems that we face, and it still promotes colored excellence, and it's still about identifying colored identity or cultural identity through that. It's just that it's a bit more poetic, if I can put it like that. And I've finished already 3 drawings from the new series, which I have already submitted for competitions such as Rustin Frida Portrait Award, Absa El Atelier, and Sasa Signatures.
You should enter the Absa Atelier.
Yeah. I didn't get feedback yet. I think we're only gonna get feedback next month whether the works got chosen or so on. And then I also have 3 works at WAG, at William Humphreys Art Gallery in Kimberley. I'm not sure when is the exhibition. I think it's the 5th of July or the 15th of July. They still haven't gotten back to me about which works got chosen for the exhibition, so I assume all 3 got chosen.
Hold up, I think my mother's work is also going to be part of that show.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's good, yeah. And that is it. So at the end of the day, I don't know where this is going. I just know that I have to keep on going.
My king, a few things there. Firstly, salute. Secondly, man, okay. You were saying you are busy working on another body of work. It's the same theme. This is just for just another something I picked up. Most young and up and coming artists are just doing are not really being very or not trying to say something really too profound. If you look at the majority of work, it's mostly done like if I should take you, I would be expecting to see work of kids kicking a fucking soccer ball, and just being happy, growing up in a sense of poverty, and sort of like I actually call it poverty porn, and it's sort of glorifying where you are staying, and in the West, saying, oh, why, and I have reasons for that, why I'm saying that, but you're saying something very profound, and you are saying something that means deeply, which means it's also resonating with an international audience. Yeah. So, what other feedback? What else did they like or enjoy about your work, or what was it that they said or rather, what do you think, or why do you think they encouraged you to do another solo show in Italy, in Rome?
I think.
What do you think it is about your work?
I think it's because like style wise, what galleries are looking for. They're looking for a style, they're looking for a signature. It is South African, it's African, and it's coffee. Who doesn't love coffee? I think mainly it's that, and it's the fact that I can use my hyperrealism and abstract it with the coffee and the charcoal and all that. But now, since I've came back from the UK, my work has changed a little. I'm still doing the same. I'm still using the coffee and the croissant symbols with charcoal and so on. It's just that I was exposed to so much graffiti, it was normalized in the UK. And I'm using that in my background now. So I'm using more words, graffiti words in my background and so on. I'm using more poetry in my background. And I'm using more colored slang that most coloreds can relate to. And the last drawing that I did, I showed my mother the drawing as it is. It was a portrait drawing, and my mother loved it. Obviously, she's supposed she's my mother, but yeah, she loved it. So then I told her what is my plan forward with the drawing and so on, and she like begged me, "No, Junior, don't do it. And I'm like, "But mommy, I have to because I need to make work that's actually going to put food on the table," which is sad, but yeah, it's life. We don't have to go into
It is
that.
what it is, man.
It is what it is, and I had to vandalize the drawing, and I hammer on the word vandalize because my mother came in, and then she just looked at it and she pulled her face, and then she was like, "The painting like a Rowan on the scoff," and then she just left the room. And that was the best comment I ever gotten from her, because I mean that is one of the typical stereotypes that is associated with colored people.
Yeah, man.
That we are violent,
Yeah.
we are raw
And rude.
and we are much more to that. I can be very colored if I want to, if I need to. Luckily, I've become so streetwise that I know when to use my coloredness. You understand? In certain settings, I think it's a skill. To understand the linguistics of when to be a banana, when to be colored.
I'd like to come in there. I think that thing actually cuts across every race group over there. We all gotta wear multiple masks for different
occasions.
Yeah. Now for sure, the thing that I like that you saying is that you're just honest about it.
Yeah.
I get that. Man. You and you sort of you're owning your identity, you're owning your pain, and you're making money through it.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. Let me just actually move debate slightly more onto the entrepreneur side. And I wanna ask you a few things. You were saying, with the tattoos, you studying graphic design. Where are you trying to take that to? I mean, is this just a means to an end, or do you have something specific in mind, like you wanna, I don't know, open your own company, do websites for various people, or how are you trying to use this as part of your creative process?
As part of my creative process, this is the stable income that I spoke about earlier. My company is registered as a visual artist with the tattoos, photography.
What's the company then?
Virgin Steel. STEE, PTY Ltd. And everything is working out. At the moment I'm a freelance designer, freelance artist as well. But the plan for the graphic design specifically with the related services is to open a warehouse where I can have a print house inside a warehouse to do my graphic designing, to do the printing and so on. And then at the same time, I want to have a studio at the end in the warehouse. That's why I want a warehouse and not a shop.
I get you.
And business wise, that's it. When it comes to my passion, my art, and my goals and things like that, I actually wanna open like a pub, something, a jazz bar, something, whatever you wanna call it. There's so many different words, but I want everything that is a stereotype to be normalized there.
Yeah, man.
But in that same space, it must actually be a gallery, and I want to promote art more through that. So yearly I can invite new artists to come do new works on the walls, new murals on the walls, and that will be the theme for the year. And like host competitions and create a platform for the children that struggle like me to infiltrate the art industry, so that we can make it easier for them at the end of the day. And also do something like the IPF Best Art Festivals that's hosted annually in Cape Town as well, where we go to companies that owns big buildings here in Kimberley or in the Northern Cape in general, and get a lot of mural artists all over the world to come to Kimberley as well, and to come like come paint the city, come bless the city with their paint or their art and things like that.
Junior, I'm listening to you. Fuck, man, I'm sure that's just how creative brains are rooted. What you're saying is actually quite similar to what we're trying to do over here, or
Yeah.
what we're trying to set up in this space over here. And there's also I know a few other artists across the country and across the continent who's trying to do a very similar thing.
Yeah.
I just want to raise a point. With COVID, there's been a real uptake in people like jamming in garden spaces and stuff like that, because it's a very controlled environment, and you can curate both the environment and the art and so forth. And that's the one point. The other point which I find that is actually quite astounding. Is you looking to set up a space, and basically you're trying to create new markets.
Yes.
That is something that we're also very passionate about on this platform, and exploring what new markets other artists are looking at, and how. That's something we also very open up to collaboration, and in terms of that. Just to my listeners, I'm actually going to be talking to Pilani Noni from Zim. If you know anything about him, he's a fucking outstanding writer. And we're going to be doing a series of episodes with him in the not too distant future, and we're too going to be discussing new markets over there, because he's got a book that's coming out. That is just a problem that or an obstacle that I found that creators who's based on the continent are dealing with. We always, I won't say quick to run, but we're always quick to run to Europe and to the US to do shows over there. But we have this huge
Space.
and not many of these people are exposed to what we're doing, and they can afford to partake in our thing, buy art, come to your show, invest, and so forth and so forth. I think that's actually quite a poignant point that you made, and as I said earlier on, it's very interesting to see how many artists are actually thinking
In the same direction.
in the same direction. Yeah, I just wanted to raise that point. So just back to the how you're going to use these skills. I mean, you say you 26, right? So I almost say you were young, but you're not really that young.
Almost 30. Almost 30.
You're not really that young either. But I get the excitement and the ambition, and it's actually pretty. I think we're actually nearing closing this or wrapping up over here. Let's just how can if anybody wants to view any of your work, where do they get hold of that, and how do they get hold of you? What platforms are your work available on?
They can check me out on Instagram and TikTok. I share the same name, Junior Oliphant Art, Oliphant with a PH, and everything is typed together. There's no spaces. And on Facebook, it's just Junior Oliphant with a space, obviously, between Junior and Oliphant. I use Instagram and Facebook mostly if people wanna DM me or reach out to me and things like that. And from there on, I can share my WhatsApp details with them if it's necessary, whether they want a tattoo or a commissioned painting or something like that, or maybe even something graphic design related or photo shoot. People mostly uses Facebook.
Junior, have you used Instagram, or rather have you monetized? Have you made any sales through social media?
I haven't actually. I'm still working towards that. Get a following, to grow my following and to grow my watch time on TikTok specifically. It's actually hard. It's the most easiest platform, but it's very hard because it's so easy. It's strategic. and the algorithm changes every week.
Yeah.
Like this week, your video can get like 30,000 views, and then 2-3 videos after that can get the same amount of views as well, and then you're actually thinking that you're doing good, and your account is growing, and the week after that, you get like 200 views, and then they shadow ban you or something like that, and then you get 200 views for a few weeks, for a few months. You try to follow trends, you try to follow niches, you're trying to use the right hashtags, and it still doesn't work. And until one day, just by accident, you're not putting a lot of effort into this video, and that video blows up like 30,000, 50,000 views again, and then you back to square one. So it's really hard how to maintain that.
Just a question, like, with the show you're doing in the UK, were there any other artists who was using social media successfully?
I haven't actually seen any other artists. I did exchange Instagram with a few artists. They had good following and so on, but I wouldn't really say that it's brandish or successful, or they're actually making money from it and so on. I think it's just based on where your location is at the end of the day, because when you open an Instagram account or a TikTok account, you already get placed under a certain number of hashtags. Like if you're from South Africa, you fall like 10th or 12th on the list most watched places in the countries in the world, or something like that. So I think it's more about that, because I know on TikTok, when you get more than 10,000 followers, then you can start monetizing your account, something like that.
Yeah, on you, I guess on YouTube as well. It's got a similar thingy. That's actually something that I'm also very interested in exploring. I know of 1 or 2, maybe 3 or 4 artists who makes quite a few sales on, but they also have their strategy is also different. But I also think that's also a very interesting medium to talk about, and to explore and to see how else we can use it. Personally, I think I probably did sell something via. Shit, I'm not thinking really nicely, but I definitely did a lot of marketing and promo. A lot of people know me off these platforms, sure. But yeah, I think like different artists work differently and so forth. And I think you are correct there when you say, when you type in, especially where you are from, which actually makes your story more extraordinary. Actually, my brother, that's actually quite cool, man. Is there anything else? Any other points? You wanna?
No, I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm good. I think I'm good. I actually just let me say something. It's something motivational for the kids.
Yeah. That's always a good idea.
It's okay to be selfish. As a girl or a boy, it doesn't matter. It's okay to be selfish, because if you allow the people that's in your circle to validate the character, or you allow their opinion to validate your character when it comes to artistic views and artistic vibes and things like that, when they eventually leave, whether it's through death or through envy, or when there's a relationship and you guys break up and things like that, you're gonna find yourself stagnant in a position where you relied so much on that person's opinion about how your work needs to be depicted and how things like that, and it's gonna hold you back. So that's just a distraction. And being depressed and anxious and paranoid and all those things, it's not easy, but it's a choice at the end of the day. And the more I'm not saying that you should bottle it up, but if you pretend to be happy, you eventually become happy. And you need to take that and you need to put it in your work, and you need to make mistakes throughout, because a mistake can define a style. So you take the little what you have and you make the best with it.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Junior Oliphant, everybody. Just remember to smash that like and subscribe button to this channel. I will be creating shorts of this video too. I think I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I'm definitely going to do a TikTok account. So I'll share all those handles on the various social media platforms. My brother, thanks a lot for coming through.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure. It was also different doing a live. I hope So for listeners, let me know, guys, what you think. The colorful background too. Yeah, man. Also, a lot of things happening on the side. I've got a few interesting episodes lined up, and there's also the African Genius with Asal Kebulan. We've got some guests lined up there too. It is Youth Day. We'll be publishing this on the 16th of June, which is Youth Day in South Africa.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Technically, it's tomorrow. So which is a long weekend in South Africa. It's going to be a cold, long weekend, but it's a long weekend, needless to say. So I'm actually glad that you came through. Maybe, I think this is actually the first. I think you're definitely one of the younger people that I spoke to, but like, you're pretty matured.
Thank you.
So I hope everyone enjoyed everything, and remember to smash that like and subscribe button. And I will catch you guys all next week. One love.
Nou, my neck looks and it's cold. I'm dying. Anyway.